It was early in the morning when the horn sounded. The men of the camp were breaking the fast and saddling horses when the cry rose up. We are under attack. We quickly moved the men into position. This morn was our 10th day in the forest tracking these wild beasts. Their attacks on the local population have been devastating, and now Imperial troops were required to exterminate these brutish creatures. Along with some of the local militia, we headed deep into the forest to seek them out. But it seems they saw us. Just as we moved in position, gargantuan, horrendous monsters burst from the forest. The leader of the herd rode upon his primitive chariot, sounding his terrifying and agonizing horn. The battle would be fierce. It would be deadly. The men of the Empire were ready. We sought this engagement. Our prelate prayed that Sunna would lead us to victory. This battle could be the decisive victory needed to end the tyranny of these animals and bring safety to the region. If only we could break through their lines and push further into the forest, that might just startle the beast. However, if the beasts break through our lines and get into our camp and supplies, the mission is over and we'll be forced to retreat. Hello YouTube and hello 9th Age community. This is Charles with Evershade Gaming, and I've got another 9th Age battle report. This was a blast of a game. Empire of Sonnstahl vs. Beast Herds, my classic rivalry, honestly. This is all the marbles are on the table for this one, folks. So I'm playing this list with an Inquisitor. I've been trying to play with Inquisitors. I love the idea of them. So I've got a Wizard Master, Skull Splitter, Zephyr Power Ring Fire, Pyromancy, Prelate General, Crown of Autocracy, Blessed Armor of Frederick the Great, Duststone, Grey Weapon. I love that build. And then I've got this Inquisitor with the Axe of Battle on the Bronze Breastplate. And he's also got a Brace Pistols just for extra spiciness. This is a decent build because he's got 6 attacks, and if he chills with the Prelate, he can get Hatred, and you can possibly get reroll to hit off or reroll to wound off, and then you can really make that Axe of Battle work, really make his special rules work. And then I have a cheap Marshal, Marshal Baldwin Burr, as the intro says. He's got 3 up, 6 up with the pistol. He's just gonna hang out with militia. In my core, I've got 20 spearmen, 2 things of 10 pistols, 2 things of 5 cav, and then a unit of 10 archers. And then in special, got 31 Imperial Guard with hand weapon and shield, and they have the Razor Standard to help them chew through some armor. I also have a unit of 5 riders and 4 Knights of Sun Griffin with the Gleaming Icon banner and a musician. And then I have 2 cannons and an arcane engine with the distracting part. So I really like this list. I think it's cool I got an Inquisitor. I'm hoping that he can do some work. My opponent's Beast Herd army has a Beast Chieftain on a raiding chariot. He's the BSB. He's got a shield and he's Greater Totem Bearer. He also has the Armor of Fortune and the Gorda Beetle, so he has a 1-up 5, which is pretty good. And a Beast Stack, so he's like strength 5. Pretty cool. Then he's got a Beast Sword. He's got the Beast Sword, as we like to call it at Evershade Gaming. The Razor Tusk Chariot Mount, Shield, Throwing Weapons, Hunting Call, Buffer Sound, Divine Icon. Actually, it's a little bit different than the Beast Sword. It's still got a 1-up. He's got a 1-up, 6-up, Divine Icon, Jex Pickaxe, a little more monster killy. And then he's also got a Soothsayer with Druidism, 3 spells, Wizard Master, and he has 3 items: Dark Rain, Obsidian Rock, and Skull Splitter. So that guy's pretty versatile. And then in his core, he's got a unit of Mongrel Herd. Deino loves his Mongrel Herd now, 35 Mongrels, Musician Spears. And then he's got a unit of 10 Mongrel Raiders, 2 units of Wild Horn. They're both ambushing, and they've got Paired Weapons, Musician, Throwing Weapons. And then in his special, he's got 2 units of Centaurs. They're both 5 strong, Paired Weapons, Throwing Weapons. They both ran Drunkards this time. And then he has Gargoyles, single Razor Tusk, 2 Gortoks, or Gortaches, as they say in Europe, and a Jabberwock with a Breath Weapon. We're playing Dawn Assault and Breakthrough for the scenario and for the deployment. This is what my Wizard rolled. I was extremely happy with it because that lets me keep... I get Pyroclastic Flow, I get Scorching Salvo, I got Flaming Swords, and then the only kind of dud, which wasn't even that much of a dud, was Immolation. So honestly, this was a great roll. I mean, the 6 spell could have been nice against that big unit mongrel raiders, or the big unit mongrels, but it's like whatever. And then this is what the spells that my opponent has. So he's got Healing Waters, Spirits of the Wood, Stone Skin, and Entwining Roots. So all really good spells. He was a little bit sad he didn't get the Regrow spell, but altogether pretty good. On my opponent's far right flank, he's got a single unit of 5 centaurs. And then in the middle of his battlefield, he's got another unit of 5 centaurs from the top of a hill. Behind those 5 centaurs are gargoyles. And then in the middle, pretty much right in the middle, is his mongrel horde, 35 mongrels, a big unit. Behind them are the unit of mongrel raiders, and you can just see his shaman on the left of the unit. Next to the mongrel herd unit is a Jabberwock, and next to his Jabberwock is his BSB. Here's a better picture of the BSB and his Jabberwock. I love that. My opponent made that Jabberwock model. He's a great little dude. This is Croc. What is it? Croc the Slayer, as named by James Silva. The beautiful boy, the promised one. Next to him, on the left of the battlefield, is the Razor Tusk and the 2 Gortoks, or Gortaches, as they say over there in Europe. That's the fun fact of the day. Gortach in Europe. And this is another picture of a shaman, or you may know him better as Khalaac Devil-Eye, and all his shifty evilness. Then on the glorious side for Sunna, we have 5 Empire Electoral Cavalry on my far flank, and then 5 riders. I have 10 militia in a field with pistols, a cannon behind them. 11 militia with pistols, and Marshal Baldwin Burr is on the right to that unit, my BSB. There he is right there. There's some spearmen next to his unit, and then another cannon on the right of those spearmen. Got my big unit of Imperial Guard in the middle, next to my Arcane Engine, and then the 10 militia with bows, and my wizard right in the middle there. And then holding down my left flank is the 4 Knights of the Sun Griffin and 5 more Knights. Here's a good picture of my Inquisitor. I've had this guy forever. Finally got to take him out. And here's my Prelate, who's also my General. And don't forget, can't forget, the Pyromancy Wizard, who will hopefully light these beasts up. Alright, this is Evershade Gaming live with Beastards Deino. What are you doing, turn 1?
No charges, that's for sure.
That's pathetic.
What do you want? Do you want me to say charges?
Charges. Say charges.
Charges.
Any?
None.
Okay. Good, go. So yeah, on Beastard's turn 1, he moves up his Razor Tusk to chaff the Knights. Unfortunately, the 5 Empire Knights cannot see them. They're just out of range. And he moves his Gortoks up and his General up, and then he moves his Centaurs up. Not too far, honestly. He's being a little more protective because I got all these pistols to fire on. And then these are his 2 ambushing Wildhorn units. They have not come on the board yet because I dropped everything to go for turn 2. In the shooting phase, the Skull Splitter from the Shaman kills a couple of the archers. I don't believe he really gets he gets Gorda Beetles off. Actually, that was Gorda Beetles. And then he gets the hard target totem off on one of the Gortoks, kind of the farther Gortok. Yeah. And then US turn 1. I have no charges to make either, no charges. I can't really charge the Knights of Sun Griffin in, because then I'm gonna eat 2 Gortoks, and that's not fun. 2 Gortoks in a general, that's not fun. So unfortunately, I kind of have to just reposition, move my wizard back, because that 1 Gortok is really, it was like only like 16 or 17 inches away, which is not that far for Beastards. I moved my Arcane Agent up, though, and my Imperial Guard, because I think they can do some cool stuff. And then on the right side of the field, I give Ready Aim Fire to the Militia unit with my BSB, and they are moving up to shoot at the Centaurs. The Riders move up to shoot at the other Centaur unit. So I'm hoping to kind of clear those Centaurs out with my pistols, even though I've got a -1 to shoot right now. You know, most of the targets are within short range right now. In the magic phase, I get a Scorching Salvo off on all of these units right here in this picture, and I get some pretty good hits all over the place, but I don't really do that much damage, just don't roll any 6s. I just do 1 wound to the Jabberwock, and then I think I do 1 or 2 wounds to this mongrel herd, so not a great Scorching Salvo. But then I also get a Perclastic Flow off on this Gortok, and I'm able to do 1 wound too. I had a good roll. I had like 10 or 11 hits with the 2d6 on the attribute, but only got 1 6 through. And then in the shooting phase, again with the Dark Rain, it's still a little bit hard to shoot with everything, so I only end up killing 2 Centaurs there, and then this is a super blurry picture, but my riders hit really well, and they kill 2 Centaurs this turn, which is great. So I'm hoping that if they charge me, I'll be able to shoot, kill 1 or 2 more, and then beat them in combat. Cannon shoots and hits the Jabberwock, which was awesome. I'm hitting. I think I was hitting on a 4-up at short range, -1, +1 for being Tarn Presence. Panics his BSB actually. His BSB's like, I don't like that. That was spooky. That was scary. So he flees, but he's the only one that is intimidated by the Jabberwock's demise. Then my other cannon also hits. 2 cannons hitting turn 1 against Beast Surge is really great. But I only do 2 wounds, but that's okay. And then at the start of Beast Surge's turn 2, this Gortok he's feeling the pressure. He's feeling like, man, I really just need to get into combat and eat something and I'll be okay. So he charges the Arcane Engine, which I would say I put too close. I think it was like a 17-inch charge. It passes Terror Test. And then he redirects into my Imperial Guard, or actually, I like to flee with it because it was too close. He redirects into my Imperial Guard, and they fail their Terror Test, and they are where you see them right now. Thankfully, everything is far away, so then the Gortok just fail charges. And then over here, he charges the Mongrels at this unit. I stand and shoot, which was not the smart move. I do like 4 wounds, which is pretty good. But then he charges with the Centaurs, and it's like, well, I can't stand and shoot now because they're dead. I have to hold, they're so close. And then he charges with the Gargoyles, and both the Gargoyles and Centaurs make it in, and he fail charges with the Mongrel Horde. So I kind of fell right into his trap right there. Yeah. And then over here, the Piggy charges these Knights. Kind of really don't have a choice. I'm glad he's just not chaffing me still. I'd rather have him in combat. And then over here, one of his ambushers makes it up. 1 fails to come on. So I was fortunate there. Because both, honestly, when you have 3-up rerollables, you can get both on turn 2 for Beasters. And then this is what the field looks like. So he's got that 1 Gortok with full wounds right up in the face of the Knights of Sun Griffin. His center was also able to advance. I mean, even though he had the Mongrel Horde, just kind of fail charge. And then up in the top right corner, I forgot to mention that the Centaurs also charge the Riders. And I think I do 1 wound with the Sandshoot, so not as much as I was hoping for. Khalaac casts the Oaken Throne. I stopped at the first turn, but I couldn't stop at this turn. He had great magic phases this entire game. And after magic and shooting, I don't really think he gets anything outside with the Oaken Throne. After magic and shooting, I lose some more guys over here, but they pass their panic test. Thank goodness. Leadership 7 panic. Oh my gosh. In combat over here, the pig does 1 wound. We do 1 wound to the pig. And we passed our panic test. It's just, leadership 7. So that's great. And then, this is a picture of the Riders and the Centaurs kill each other. So it's a win-win for me because the Riders are cheaper, I guess. It'd be nice to keep those guys around, but. And then over here, my BSB strikes first, and he kills 2 Centaurs, which is great. And then we kill the rest of the Centaurs, and we end up doing 3 wounds to the Gargoyles, and then we lose 6 guys. So I think we lose combat by 1, but we're able to stick around on Leadership 8 real so that's awesome. EOS turn 2, I have a spicy charge with this unit of heavy infantry into the Mongrels, and a flank charge. The flank needed only 11, but it misses. And then I also charge my Knights of Sun Griffin in because, you know what? Strength 6 Lances, you just got to go for it. I can't let the might as well go into the Gortok and let the Gortok go into you. Thank goodness. Oh my gosh. The Imperial Guard rally. They're only on their Leadership 9 all by themselves when they rally. And so does the Arcane Engine. This is a great shot of what the field's looking like. I got my knights on the right moving up. They're gonna get into their his deployment zone and be there. Hopefully, be there the rest of the game. And then yeah, the militia unit failed, so they're just kind of sitting there. We'll see what the spears can do against the mongrel spears, and then, whew, yeah, I wish those Imperial Guard were up more, and I wish they didn't flee last time, but nah, that's where it is right now. Yeah, I just got to get rid of those that wild horn in my deployment zone right now. In the magic phase, I try and get flaming swords off on the Knights of Sun Griffin, but I can't, unfortunately. And then I also get a Pyroclastic Flow off, though, and I do like 7 wounds, which is pretty good. These wild horns don't panic, though. In the shooting phase, however, my cannon hits, wounds, and smokes the Gortok, so that was great. And then I had another shot with my other cannon, I think on his BSB or something, or maybe his general, but I just miss. In combat, it's 5 wounds to 5 wounds, and I think I win by 1, and I break the mongrels, so I run them down. It was really, he rolled really poorly for his hits, and because he passed his leadership, he passed the leadership 6 test to get hatred. So yeah, he just rolled really poorly, unfortunately, and I rolled really well to wound. In combat against the Gortok, I forgot to take another picture, but the Gortok and the Knights both take 2 wounds. Thankfully, the Gortok didn't get any lethal strikes off. I just didn't pass any armor saves, so that went really well for me. And then I forgot to take another picture of this combat, but I ended up killing the rest of the gargoyles. In Beast Herd's turn 3, he charges the remaining archers. I actually moved my wizard to the other side. I think he's actually in the Imperial Guard right now. And then his BSB makes a... It's a kind of a long charge because he was at the end of the board. He rallied last turn. And he goes into the heavy infantry with the spears. So we'll see how they do. And the general joins the combat with the Gortok, and I was looking really scared at this point. So this is a great picture of what the board looks like. He's got his other unit of wild horns on the board now. He's moving his mages in the forest right now. He's got that BSB in a combat with the heavy infantry. Not really sure what to do with my militia got a turn now and do with that other unit of wild horns. Hopefully those heavy infantry can stick around a turn, and maybe I can use the cannons on the wild horns, because everything else is in combat, basically. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. So, in the magic phase, the first thing he gets off is Spirits on the Wood on the Gortok. He couldn't cast it on the Knights of Sun Griffin, but he was able to cast on the Gortok, so basically he just wanted to put a wound back on. And then he also gets Entwining Roots. I was trying to stop Stone Skin most of this phase, and he ends up failing it at the end. And unfortunately, I wasted it, because it would have been great to stop Spirit of the Woods or Entwining Roots. These guys shoot, and they do a couple wounds. In combat, we get kind of lucky over here. These knights just kind of roll a couple 6s and smoke the pig. So that's good. They got a barbecue going. And then in this combat goes really well, actually. Even though there's a couple missing now, the Gortok whiffs hardcore. Oh my gosh. His general also really doesn't do that much damage. He only gets a couple impact hits. Like they do 1 wound or something like that. My Knights of Sun Griffin go. I end up having 3 that get to attack the Gortok skill. Still get to attack the Gortok. They do 4 wounds to the Gortok. I'm unable to kill it this turn, but I couldn't believe it. Like, I did 4 more wounds and the Gortok whiff. So the Gortok is sitting on 1 wound right now, which is just amazing. So, unfortunately, I forgot to take some pics on turn 3. So this is a previous picture, and I'm drawing a bunch of arrows to show where things go. So red is for Empire Sonnstahl, blue is for Beast Herds. It's also, like, for turn 4, too. I missed some pictures. So I move, his BSB ends up blowing through my heavy infantry on his turn. So he's actually close to that forest. My unit of 10 militia, they go to shoot him, and my unit of I think there's like two militia left. They go to chaff the wild horns. My arcane engine charges the wild horn herd that charged my archers. The wild horn herd had no problem killing the archers. And then the only other thing that really happens is my wizard jumps out of the unit to throw fireballs at the Wildhorn unit that just came on the board, and my knights try and go past the Gortok combat, but they fail their March block test, so they're kind of right near it, unfortunately. I'm not able to get a lot off, but I get just one classic flow off, and I do like 7 wounds to this Wildhorn unit, but he passes that dang Leadership 7 test again. And then in the shooting phase, the pistols shoot at the BSB. They do like 5 wounds. He passes all his armor saves. 1 cannon misses, 1 cannon hits, and he passes 5 ward saves. So I was like close to killing his BSB, but he just made all his saves. So that ends up being really unfortunate for me. In combat, the Knights of Sun Griffin kill the Gortok. I only have 1 left when it comes to strike, and the Griff kills the Gortok, which is awesome, but this guy fails his leadership test, and he flees. And also, those Knights that are right there, they also fail their panic tests, and they flee off the board too. So that was a bummer. And then in this combat, that's just a whiff fest. I go in, I get 1 impact hit, it doesn't wound, and then they're just... it was a push. It was just a charge. It was a charge to... Actually, no, I think he had to take a break test, and he passed it. And he was like, whatever. LD7s all day, baby. So at the start of Beast Herd's turn 4, the General, Croc the Slayer, he decides to charge the Demigriffs off the board, or the Knights of Sun Griffin off the board, and then these Wildhorns charge the militia that were chaffing them up. I know they have handguns, but they're supposed to have pistols. I don't have pistol models. I don't know about you guys. And then his BSB is able to charge into my cannon right here. Because I couldn't put any wounds on him last time. And then he also gets and then Khalaac gets Twining Roots off in this cannon, so it's basically not going to do any. And he's got Oaken Throne up, so it's like -2 bliss going now. And then he also is able to get Stone Skin up on his Uniter Mongol Raiders, which really ends up hurting me later on too. But at the end of the phase, I end up dispelling the Oaken Throne. I don't know. His magic phase was really throwing me for a loop this turn. After combat, the Wildhorns have no problem killing those 2 militia, and they turn to face my BSB and my cannon. Same thing with his BSB has no problem blowing through that cannon. So now it is my turn. And there's not too much I do. The only thing I do is, I do 2 charges. I charge my BSB at the Uniter Mongrels, and I charge my I charge my Imperial Guard into his other Wildhorns. Because I got to get rid of these scoring units to win the objective. Oh, the only problem is I have my Wizard sitting out, as you could see in that last image. And in combat over here, I do 1 wound only, and he does a wound to me, so it ends up being... actually, he loses by 1, and he sticks again. And over here, we wipe out the rest of the Wildhorns. And I wasn't able to do anything in magic or shooting phase against his BSB or his Raiders. So turn 5. He doesn't really move up too much. He kind of just turns his... Actually, this is like kind of what it looks like at the end of my turn. Got his knights. He's got all his dead models over here. Got my knights in his deployment zone. At the start of his turn, he kind of just moves his BSB around, and he moves his raiders closer. And then this is such a blurry picture because I was really disappointed, but it's my own fault. His raiders shoot, and and Khalaac shoots, and they kill my wizard, which stinks in its own right. But my Imperial Guard panic. Not the Arcane Engine, but the Imperial Guard. The closest thing to them is Croc the Slayer right now, so they flee from him. And in the combat phase, my BSB is finally able to kill those guys. I think he does another 2 wounds, and he breaks them. But at the start of an Imperial turn 5, my Imperial Guard do not rally. They have Leadership 9 rerollable, and they do not rally. Disappointed! I failed 3 Leadership 9 tests in a row. Oh, and this unit is fleeing right now. So unfortunately, and they're like 6 inches off. So actually, their turn right now, because basically what's going to happen is he's going to charge with his raiders in his turn. So they're lined up for that right now. Yeah, in the shooting phase, I finally get a cannon to get past his ward save, but only does 2 wounds. And then on his turn 6, he charges my Imperial Guard, and they go 6 inches exactly. They needed to run 6 inches to get off the board, and they go 6 inches exactly. And they are gone. Oh, huge chunk points. He moves Croc. I think he moves Croc up to shoot at the Arcane Engine, but he doesn't do any wounds. And then I didn't even think his magic phase would be important at this point, but he's able to get Court of Beetles off. He's able to get hard target onto his BSB. I just can't stop anything at this point without my wizard. So yeah, he's got hard target on his BSB. He's got Court of Beetles on my cannon, so my cannon can't even hit now. And I think he's destroying weapons at my militia, but it doesn't. I think he does. I don't think he does a wound. He might do 1 wound. I think he needed to do a 2 to get a panic, but he couldn't get it. Thankfully, oh my gosh, probably would have failed it. And then EOS turn 6. The only thing I do is I try and shoot with my militia and my cannon, but I can't do it. I think I even get another wound or 2 on his BSB, but he made so many 3-up armor saves against that guy. So this is where the game ends. Yeah, it was looking really good there, and then it turned into a 10-10 actually, 10-10 draw exactly. I won the objective because I had my knights in the corner of his deployment zone, and I killed all his scoring units, thankfully. But he just beat me on points because I lost so many points on his turn 6 when my Imperial Guard just fled off the battle. But even if they stayed, I would have had a small victory. Oh man, I would have had a good victory if they stayed, but I just couldn't roll that leadership 9. But this honestly was such a fun game. Oh, it was like it got really dramatic there in the middle, and I feel like I had so much luck turns 1 and 2. But this is such a perfect picture for me because this is what it came down to. I feel like the game came down to who passed the leadership tests, and unfortunately, the Bastards just passed all the tests they needed. He passed all of his tests with his wild horns when they could have panicked, and they could have panicked off the board. Yeah, so just good on Deino for making what seemed like for him a good loss and a big loss, turning into a draw. It was a fun game. It was a tie. So I want to thank Deino for a great game, and I want to thank everybody for watching because this was such a fun battle to report on. So if you guys liked this battle report, please go to the 9th Age forums. There's a cool little competition going on for the best EOS battle report right now, and whoever wins gets a very cool forum tag. And I'm submitting this battle report as my submission for that contest. The contest ends tomorrow night at midnight UK time. So yeah, if you like this battle report and you think it's the best one, best EOS battle report for the competition, please click the link in the description and vote for me, even if you're an EOS player or not. Thanks, guys. And yeah, Evershed Gaming. We'll be seeing you soon. More content will be coming up.